Mid-year freakout tag is one of my favorite videos to watch, but I'm usually late and don't even bother posting this video because I'm watching them all and I'm like, yeah, man, it is that time of year, isn't it? And I haven't started freaking out yet. And then I'm done watching all the mid-year freakouts and I was like, wow, that was so much fun. And then it hits me. Then I realize it's the middle of the year, and not only just that, but I have to buy a whole bunch of presents and things for both my Leos and Cancers who just crop up out of nowhere. It's like they know I don't like commitment and they just want to give me a hug. I don't know. So I am doing this at the end of June. I've been feeling the mid-year, but I haven't been really like feeling it until just right now. And so I'm filming the mid-year freakout tag and I'm really excited about it because I never get around to doing it. Because I have watched so many of these, I'm kind of feeling the need to mix it up a little. And I have a theory about the mid-year freakout tag, and that is that it's backwards. I think that when you start off the mid-year freakout tag with the best book of the year, it kind of just all goes downhill from there for me. I'm kind of like, all right, that was the finale. Now let's watch all of the honorable mentions. I don't know. I'm gonna do it in reverse. So I'm going to do the mid-year freakout tag backwards, and that might either rub you the wrong way, or you will have a more refreshing take on the exact same video that I at least watch over a dozen times. Gonna get into it, but first, I have an exciting sponsorship that I'd like to talk about. I am sponsoring once again with Ana Luisa, and it was honestly just in time for Leo and Cancer season. Honestly, Leo and Cancer season is the real freak out. It's a lot. So having Ana Luisa reach out while I was trying to look for gifts was the perfect opportunity, because gifts for friends and Ana Luisa go hand in hand. It was phenomenally easy and perfect to do. All the stars aligned. Let me show you what I got. For my hyperallergenic and incredibly sensitive Cancer, I got this silver set of earrings. They are the Harley silver earrings and they are hyperallergenic. My Cancer friend is allergic to both gold and just a lot of jewelry in general. I actually have kind of skin issues with jewelry as well, but Ana Luisa has been fantastic for me in the past. I was super excited to see that they had more silver options, and this was a really easy pick. It also completely fits their vibe, and I really like that Ana Luisa has definitely expanded to have elegant pieces and also pieces with a bit more edge to them, ones where I feel like they're more chic and stylistic. That is for one of my Cancer friends. Then for my Leo friend, so I got the Oshi earrings for my star of the show, Leo, and I love these so much. They're dainty and cute, but they're also very much so conversation starters. I know my Leo's style, and I know that she's going to absolutely love these, so I'm very, very stoked for it. I'll set these here because I'm not going to wear my friend's gifts on film. That would be an unusual take, even for a sponsorship. Ana Luisa has actually let me give gifts in the past. I was able to give my mom a set of jewelry for Mother's Day, but I did get myself something because I saw this in their Elements collection because they have jewelry for each element. I love how it's engraved. It feels earthy, it's dainty, it's light, and honestly, it just gave me the cottagecore vibes I'm hoping to have this summer. Like, let me emulate this necklace into my entire wardrobe and mood. When they approached me for a longer term commitment, I was super excited because I wasn't initially able to narrow things down. And the excitement of working with them throughout the year made it a lot more plausible for me to give my friends gifts instead of just getting things for myself, and for me to get the Earth Pendant knowing good and well I could get other elements later. I'm also very interested in their Celestial set. It's absolutely gorgeous. There's so many different options. I'm looking at everything and I don't know where I'll start, but I am very excited to work with them again, especially since they are a brand that I have enjoyed working with in the past. They're very flexible, they're understanding with upload schedules, and on top of that, they are climate neutral and carbon neutral certified. They have a 100% offset on their carbon footprint, and that is really important to me. I have to cut a lot of corners when it comes to recycling and just environmental things in general when living in Japan, and that can be really hard for me, but when I can work with a business like Ana Luisa, I am all for it. There is a 2-year warranty. I have a lot of different pieces from them, and this one is my oldest one from about 2 years ago. It looks exactly how I bought it in the first place. They just give me a lot less to worry about, and I like being able to work with a company that doesn't give me stress. Before I move on to the mid-year freakout tag, I would like to just let you know, while they do have affordable products starting at, I believe, $39, they also have higher end products, and if those feel less affordable to you, I have a discount code below to make it a little easier to handle. It's jadedreader10, so if you are interested in purchasing anything from Ana Luisa, I'll have the code and all the information directly down below in the description box. Moving on from that super pro sponsorship, which I'm sure you all enjoyed and didn't skip through, I have lots of books to talk about, and I'm really excited because there's a lot of physical copies. So let's start at the end of this tag with the last question, which is now my first question. Books I need to read by the end of the year. I have an extensive list of sequels that I need to finish. I'll put that up above if you'd like to check it out, but I have a very large TBR of sequels I'd like to finish, and so I am going to focus this mostly on sequels. The one that I just started, so I feel pretty confident about finishing, is Redemptor. This is by Jordan Ofueko. I just read Raybearer by Jordan Ofueko. It was a reread for me. I absolutely loved it, and I jumped right into Redemptor. I will be finishing it by the end of the year because I'm reading it now. Another high priority for me is finishing the Mistborn trilogy because I have 50% left in the first phase of the Mistborn trilogy. 50% of an audiobook, and then I'm done with the phase 1 of the Mistborn trilogy. The anticipation and fear of finishing a series sometimes creeps up on me, especially when I have been dedicated and a part of the series for such a long time. I don't necessarily want it to end. I want the satisfaction of an ending, but I don't want it to end. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about, because that's really hard to describe. Then finally, I have one last book in Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. This is a series I definitely want to finish. I see me doing it this summer. I'd like to make it into a buddy read. Feeling good things about it. I feel like confidently I can finish it by the end of the year. It'd be super neat and dandy if I did. Most beautiful book. No, I cannot narrow it down to one. I can narrow it down to maybe 3. I will pull this one out, and this is a difficult one for me because I just finished reading this book and I gave it, I think, a 3. This is Song of Silver, Flame Like Night. It's the Illumicrate edition. It has these gorgeous sprayed edges. There's not a part of this book that isn't gorgeous. From the end papers to the actual cover on the outside, this book hits. It's one of the most gorgeous books I think I've ever seen in general. This is one of the best and most beautiful books I own. On the outside. On the inside, it kind of had some info dumpy moments, and when you look at a book and you know that you weren't in love with it, it just hits a little different. So I do have some backup options. First, I have another Illumicrate because they're just killing it this year, and that's Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. The sprayed edges on this one are one of my absolute favorites that I've seen so far. I love this little creature character. He is the god of white lies, and he's just amazing and adorable and flawed. So terribly flawed, like any white lie. Godkiller is one of my favorites of the year. The cover without a dust jacket is actually my favorite part of this. If it was just this, the original cover is just as gorgeous, and in some lightings, maybe even more so. But this really just makes it for me. I loved these characters, and being able to see such a gorgeous rendition of them, it blew me away. The other high contender is literally just a baseline, you can pick it up anywhere, book cover that is amazing. That is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I love the artwork. I love the design of it. I love everything about it. It's just a wow book. It's a book you're going to pick up at the bookstore, at least to look at it and open the front cover. And I've read this book. I loved this book. There are special feelings I feel when I pick up and see this book, and the cover itself became more special to me because it actually means something for the book. It's not just a cool design. It has sentimental value on top of that. I think this might be the winner, but I don't know. I'm gonna leave that down to you guys. Out of those 3, which one do you think is the actual winner of the most beautiful book? Or do you hate all of them? And we can talk about that too. Books that made me happy. Genuinely, if you want to see me just happy, just having the best time of my life, even when I'm having tired days at work, you should watch my vlog where I read Legends and Lattes in different cafes. I read every single page of Legends and Lattes while sitting at different cafes. I couldn't pick the book back up until I went to a coffee shop. This was one of the best reading experiences I've ever had. It was just so much fun. It felt so good. And this book was the perfect book for it. I felt joy. I drank so much coffee. You are more than also welcome to join me for just me reading the end of the book in a cafe. It's like a live 1-hour reading video. I don't know. It's not my typical video, but I was really vibing with this book. And so I have to pick Legends and Lattes. Plenty of these books have made me happy. If you've read Legends and Lattes, let me know if you agree. What's the next question? A book that made me cry. I can definitely pick this book back up again. I sobbed. I openly lost my shit. I do really well with book crying, as in that I don't do it. I did not do well. I also finished this on the way to work. What a bad idea. What a thing to do on a Tuesday. It has really important topics in it. I talk about it in my wrap-up, which I can link up above. It's a very real book. It's not the warm, cuddly feeling of friendship. It is the raw, ugly feelings of friendship, as well as the beautiful moments that come out of that about having finding someone who truly knows you and lets you grow and experience things. I experienced a lot of things while reading this book. Nope, not doing it. That book made me cry. We're moving on. New favorite character. I'm in love with her. This is Gideon. I don't know if you've heard of Gideon. If you haven't, welcome to my channel. I'm Jade, and this is one of my new favorite characters. One of my new favorite characters of like all time. I have actually a pretty small set list of favorite characters. I have a large list, an extensive list of favorite books, but favorite characters, that's a different ball game. I am a close friend, small knit group type of person. My circle is a dot, and Gideon is within that dot. I love her. She's fantastic. I might have romantic feelings for her. I don't know. I just know that Gideon is a new favorite character of mine, and I talk a lot about Gideon. I will link the wrap-up up above, down below. I don't know how many links I get in one video, but I've talked about Gideon a lot, and I will find some way to make sure I keep talking about her. But that was an easy answer. So let's go on. New favorite author. This is a little trickier because I have a lot of almost new favorite authors right now. Like, Tamsin Muir, I can see as a new favorite author because she created my new favorite character, but I've only read Gideon and I'm halfway through Harrow, so I haven't read enough of her material to really know her as an author. T. Kingfisher is an amazing author. I have loved both of these books in a really, really excited new way. Like, I'm very excited for T. Kingfisher and reading more of their work. I think that they do amazing things in a really succinct way that I'm all in for, and I feel like this is going to be a new favorite author for me. I can see it, I can feel it. Then I have Seanan McGuire. Seanan McGuire, I just read the entire Wayward Children series. I feel intimately close to Seanan McGuire. I have seen the highs and lows of her writing. I feel like I get Seanan McGuire's work. Then we have V.E. Schwab. V.E. Schwab is a mixed freaking bag. The Darker Shade of Magic series, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. Vicious by V.E. Schwab, absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, a doozy that we're going to get to fairly soon. The duet series that she did, it's not reaching my mind because it was so unmemorable. I DNF'd. I won't be completing. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue was freaking awesome. I did openly kind of weep at a point in this book. Is it V.E. Schwab? I don't know. Is it Seanan McGuire? I don't know. I feel like I'm on the precipice of knowing a new favorite author, and I just need a little bit more of a push to get there. This I am tentatively leaving open. I'm not ready to commit. I am going to try and have an answer for this by the end of the year. I feel like I am going to read more of these authors' works, and I'm going to have a new favorite author. For now, we're leaving that open. Still dating around. We're not ready to go steady. Biggest surprise. These are two of my biggest surprises because I didn't have any expectations going into God Killer. I mean, it sounded cool, but most books sound cool to me when you give me the right premise. I didn't have any preconceived notions about it. I got it in the Illuma crate at the right place, right time, where I was able to pick it up almost immediately, and it did a lot for me. It propelled me forward and was so good. I could not believe how much was packed into such a small book. Gideon was one I went into very tentatively. When I picked this out of my promise jar, it was my first promise book, and I was like, wow, this is not necessarily what I wanted to read when I was promising for the first time to read a book for my TBR, not be able to DNF it. It's got some mixed reviews, but I feel like it changed me. So those were two happy surprises. Biggest disappointment. I said I would talk about it, and we're not going to talk about it again after this. I'm going to talk about Vengeful, and then I'm going to stop talking about Vengeful. I read Vicious, absolutely blew me away. I was like, that's a 5-star. I need the next one. And I went straight into it. I had expectations for this book because V.E. Schwab is really good at making a character and having you understand that character and where they're coming from. I felt really solid and confident going into Vengeful, knowing what I was getting, and I didn't get any of it. Not only did it go in a different direction that I didn't expect and I felt was a little wasted, I felt like the characters weren't even along for the ride because they were cardboard cutouts of who they were supposed to be. I've talked about it to the point of where, like, I don't like talking about books I don't like. And this book was, like, so disappointing. I'm done acknowledging that it exists. So I'm gonna just pretend Vicious is a standalone. It works as a standalone. All the way up to the end. Right now, my headcanon, Vicious is a standalone. Which means it's not my most disappointing book because it doesn't exist. I'll go with Mr. Impossible by Maggie Seawater because it was the end of a series from a beloved author and I felt it was a little lackluster. I gave it 4 stars. It's really not that bad. There's no tea there. Apart from that, I'm gaslighting myself, so I'm sorry. I don't have an answer for you on that one either. My most anticipated book in the second half of the year. I think I'm saying that correctly. So it's a book that's not yet out that I really want to read in the second half of the year that I can't read as of right now. I will have a video for most anticipated reads. To give you the most boring sneak peek possible, Bookshops and Bone Dust is on my radar for a book I actually want to pick up pretty darn quickly. Like I said, I loved Legends and Lattes. It felt like a hug. It hit me at the right point. I had an amazing reading experience with it. I'm very much so looking forward to the second book. I don't know if I'll read it in the same way because I believe it takes place in a bookstore and it's a prequel. I don't know exactly how I'm going to have this reading experience, but I definitely want to have it. It's an anticipated reading experience for me, and it comes out later this year. For new releases I want to read, so these are books that are out, but they're still new. That's how I'm interpreting this anyway. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies is what I think it's called. It's a long title. I haven't had the best luck with long titles, as I can point out in my most recent wrap-up, but I do think that this might be just the right thing that I need. This might be the right kind of long title. I don't know too much about it, and I don't want to go in knowing too much. I do know that it's a generational story. A young woman is in a toxic relationship, possibly abusive, and she flees to what is an old family home. No, wait, that's a totally different book. That's Wayward. Let me start that all over. Wayward is what I was just describing. Now we're going to talk about Emily's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I think is just like a cottagecore lovely book that I want to read. I think that she is documenting her finding fairies or something like that, but you know what? This isn't meant to be a TBR. I'm going to leave it at that. If you've read it, please tell me what it's about. Please tell me if you think I'd like it. I really want to read it, but I also obviously don't have any idea of what I'm talking about. I just know I really, really want to read it. And it's what I wrote down for this answer, so we're sticking with it. What a mess, what a disaster. Let me look at my notes so that I don't ruin this any further. Oh, we only have 2 left. Oh, this is good. It's a ride or die moment right now. My best sequel, I haven't read a good sequel this year, but I'm in the middle of reading my best sequel of the year for sure, and that is Harrow. This is the sequel to Gideon the Ninth, and Harrow, I've never enjoyed being gaslit so much in my life. And, you know, I've been gaslit a lot. It's a horrible time. I don't enjoy it. I love this book. This is fantastic. I have been tabbing this. It's literally not finished because I'm taking the time to tab it, and I am having the ride of my life. I don't know what's going on. I would never be able to give a synopsis, not to save my life. Necromancers in space, and the necromancy magic that's in this is fantastic. You are not supposed to know everything that's going on. You're supposed to feel a little unhinged, and I definitely do. Harrow herself is a little unhinged. I didn't know how I was going to feel going into this book after Gideon. Very relieved at how I feel about this because I'm obsessed. Harrow is going to be the best sequel. I would love to see someone try and dethrone this book for me. Last book, my best book, the finale of this video. See, doesn't it kind of seem more natural? You had to fight to get here. You had to do a lot of work, or you used the timestamps that I definitely have listed down below. You went through a sponsorship, which I will remind you is down below, and you can use my discount code for Ana Luisa. You did the work. I feel like this is almost an objective statement. Like, I feel subjectively very close and very attached to these other books, but I decided to go a little bit more literal when I think of the best book I've read this year, and that is Babel by R.F. Kuang. Babel is a phenomenal book, and the way that this is crafted is just ingenious. It just works. I don't think that this is the perfect book by any means, but I think it's beautiful and undeniably well written. I think that R.F. Kuang came in having a statement, she had something to say, and she said it with her whole chest. And I think that she did a really fantastic job of it. I loved the characters, I loved the story, I loved the messages behind it, and I appreciated how it made me think and feel. This is a heavy book, this is a good book. I even feel like it could have been longer, and that is a statement in and of itself. This is a chonker. It's undeniably the best book I've read this year. Even if I have books that I feel more emotionally attached to, this is one for the history books, which is coincidentally like kind of how it's written. This book is fantastic and I really enjoyed it. Again, saying that objectively from like what I can think of as like the best book I've read, but I would love to know, what is the best book you have read? How are you feeling about your reading year? Does the fact that the year is half over feel exciting to you, thrilling to you, or terrifying? I do feel like this year has been going by fast. How do you feel? What are your opinions? I'd love to have them down below. One last shout out to Ana Luisa. There is a link in the description box, so if you would love to get a discount on Ana Luisa or just check out all of their amazing pieces, that link is down below. You can use my personal discount, jadedreader10, and whether you do or not, I hope you're enjoying the sun or more stars wherever you are. And until next time, bye!